Hi guys, good evening, or sorry, force of habit. Good afternoon, and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in today's video I will be doing my episode review for the most recent episode of Zoo, which premiered earlier this week on Thursday night on CBS. I didn't do it the same night because I saw an advanced screening of War for the Planet of the Apes, which I did my film review for. So I am now catching up on my Thursday night shows, both Zoo and The Mist, so stay tuned for my episode review of The Mist later this afternoon. In the meantime, I'm about to do my Zoo review, and as usual, with all my review videos, please be warned this will be full of big spoilers regarding this most recent episode of Zoo. So if you are not caught up on it, do not keep watching or listening, as I will be giving away big spoilers. So you have been warned. That being said, great episode. This season of Zoo by far has been. This might be my favorite season of Zoo because the character stories have been riddled with conflict, backstory, and secrets. And the animal attacks are like now mutant hybrids, and the stakes are higher than ever. And it's like we're only into the third episode, and I'm just like, wow, this whole time. It really is something. So it's like, it's revealed that Dariella at one point cheated on Abraham when he went away for a summer, and the man she cheated on with, of course, happens to be works at Raiden Global, and she thought she was doing Abe a favor by sharing his research with this guy, but of course that's what led to Raiden Global snatching up a bunch of kids for basically scientific experimentation, which includes poor Abe and Dariella's own son as well. And that, of course, brought some past resentment and distrust to the surface. Abe can even barely stand to look his wife in the eye or look at her at all. Whew, tense. Very tense and very awkward. But on the plus side, of course, I say on a plus side, I mean they briefly reunited a family when they had when they had a different boy who was mistaken for their son brought to them. But I believe that was probably all a ruse set up by Raiden Global so they can find these two, and then of course the evil, nasty president of the company could say, "Oh, all right, we'll give you your son back if you bring us Clementine." And now, of course, Clementine is under Raiden Global's scope, which isn't that surprising. But now, of course, this is going to lead them to reunite with their old allies, and it won't be under the best intentions either. In this episode, we saw another new hybrid. Apparently, for the past decade, the only hybrids people have had to worry about are the Razorbacks. But then, as we saw in the premiere episode, it was that prehistoric rhino-looking thing. And now in this episode, apparently there are flocks of these underground-seeking mutant vultures, for lack of a better word. And that was pretty cool. And I mean, I was a little thrown off with the whole underground thing, but thus the word mutant. So I guess a mutant hybrid can really do anything that the writers want it to, I guess. But, this episode also had some other pretty intriguing, revealing moments as well. It allowed some catch-up time between Jamie, Mitch, and Clementine, mostly between Clementine and Mitch. She was explaining to her dad what her childhood was like and how he was kind of shunning for that. And then she brought up a good point. You were dead for the past decade. You don't have a say in how I was raised, And that kind of shut him up. And then this whole bizarre last-minute brain surgery connecting Mitch to a pig, and then forcing the Shepherd operative that Jamie's holding prisoner and stabbing him precisely right in the right hand, threatening him with internal bleeding if he didn't help. So Jamie has become a real badass, a bit of a cold-hearted but ruthless badass, and I love that because now she's not being fucked with by anybody else, and that she's capable of taking care of herself and the people she cares about. And they were going to remove this device, but Mitch has decided to die with dignity than live and become a memory loss vegetable, for lack of a better word. So that all of that happened, and then of course Jackson finally came clean to Tessa, because Logan brought up a good point. If we're going to Mexico after your sister, you need to tell Tessa what she's in for and who you really are. And sure enough, he did. Obviously, she did not take the revelation too well, and she has seemingly stormed off, but I wouldn't write her off quite yet. And then we got a surprise reunion at the end of this episode. Most of our characters, with the exception of Abraham and Dariella, have become reunited, but of course, I think it was just one giant ruse, because Abigail brought them all together. And at first I thought it was a bomb that she had planted in the cabin and she was going to blow them all up straight to hell. But instead, she wants them to obviously die while suffering, and she used the device to summon a flock of the underground dwelling mutant vultures. And now, of course, they're being swarmed by vultures. And in the next episode, the opening scene, we'll probably see them getting away, or at least fighting their way out from these mutant vultures. And now the conflict has only escalated, because Raiden Global will only give Abe and Dariella their son back if they present Clementine to them. And it makes you wonder, does Raiden Global know that Clementine is pregnant? Is that why they're after her? Or are they unaware of that and they want her for something else, something unrelated? Who knows? But the show keeps us guessing, and it keeps us tuning in for more and more episodes. And this was, like I said, this is only the third episode of this season, and this season so far has just been wowza. I mean, it's just been one thing after another. I really like the direction it's going. I can't wait for next week's episode, and I'm sure a big reunion involving Abraham, Dariella, and the rest of their old friends is in the works further down the line. And I'm curious as to what other mutant hybrids are out there. We've seen a prehistoric looking rhino. We've seen mutant vultures that like to dig themselves underground. What else is out there? And Jackson brought up a really good point. These other hybrids are suddenly appearing right around the same time Abigail has appeared. Does she somehow have the similar ability to summon animals, kind of like Jackson did with the pride of lions? Who can tell? But overall, great episode, great character conflict and drama. A lot of backstory was revealed, and some more touching moments as well, even though they were pretty short-lived. The boy being reunited with his family, but then being captured by Raiden Global, and then our other main characters reuniting after all these years. So I'm curious as to see what's to come next, and I hope you guys are too. Well, thank you so much for joining me for my episode review here on the EdWord for Zoo. Don't forget, new episodes of Zoo premiere every Thursday night on CBS. Check it out. It's pretty awesome. I hope you guys are continuing to follow along with me here on the EdWord as we follow along with Zoo. And don't forget to check back later today for my episode review for the recent episode of The Mist, which also premiered on Thursday that I missed because I was seeing the third Apes film. Alright guys, have a great rest of the weekend if I don't see you again, if you don't tune back for the Mist review. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.